Hello and welcome to this week's YouTube video. As an oil painting artist who has recently discovered Procreate, I am interested in which of these two mediums is perceived as better. Is the paintbrush mightier than the digital pencil, or is it a bit like comparing apples and oranges? In today's video, I'm going to compare the same piece of artwork, one done in oils and the other done in Procreate. I'm going to discuss the differences between the mediums, the pros and cons of each, and we'll find out which you thought was better. I asked my Instagram following and I'll let you know the results later. I think there are four main differences between Procreate and oil painting. Number 1, colour. I just cannot achieve the same colour luminosity in Procreate that I can in oils. I have tried very hard to replicate it, but with little success. The main differences is in the ability to mix paint. Working with paint is glorious, and the colour mixes you get when you understand colour can be very beautiful. This is especially true when working alla prima, which means laying wet paint on top of wet paint. I can partially mix my colours on my palette and then lay them on my board so that they mix on the canvas. I can use different mediums like Gamsol or linseed oil to help me manipulate stiff paint. And I have much more control over my paint, what I add to it and how I use it. Procreate is very different. If I select an oil brush like the turpentine, the only control I have over it is what the program can do. For example, I can change my opacity and the size of my brush, but that's pretty much it. I do have the ability to add multiple layers, but to be honest, whilst this can give me a bit more control over my brush strokes, it takes away the ability to mix the paint as you would alla prima. Also, the paint just does not mix like oil paint. Colours lose their vibrancy very quickly, and I have to overcompensate with my colour choices. When it comes to colour, oil painting is the clear winner here. Number 2, brushwork. When I use my brush, my hand action, a nudge, a slight tilt, massively changes my strokes. I can change the consistency of my paint with medium, and this will affect my brushwork. I can use the same brush multiple ways. I can use it to blend with no paint. I can load it with paint. Adding terps gives me a streaky effect. So it is possible to paint with one brush, but that brush can give me a variety of marks depending upon how I use it. Procreate does not allow me to do this. My pencil gives me pressure sensitivity, and I can make some different marks depending upon my hand action, but I do not have as many variables that I have with oil paint. I get much more random mark making with oils. I have to work very hard in Procreate to get a variety of marks. I would never paint a whole picture in Procreate with the same brush. It would look too uniform. Again, oil painting is the clear winner here. Number 3, versatility. Procreate is an incredibly versatile medium. I can take my iPad anywhere. I did this piece while sat in Terminal 5 at Heathrow Airport. Could you imagine trying to do the same with oil paints? Obviously, you can go plein air oil painting, but not whilst waiting to hop on a plane. Plein air painting is not as hassle-free as Procreate. Oil painting is also a much more expensive hobby. The cost soon adds up, and paints, brushes, mediums and canvases all need to be replaced regularly. Procreate requires the cost of your iPad, pencil tool and the program. Furthermore, Procreate delete function cannot be replicated in oil painting. Of course, I can scrape back my canvas and have another go, but it's at the cost of time and paint. Very often you get limited attempts to get your brushwork right with oils before the paint is lost and you have to start again. A Procreate painting is never lost. You just undo or start a new layer and then delete what you don't like. The great thing about Procreate is the ability to reproduce your digital file into prints, cards, wrapping paper and onto fabric. And it can give you a great additional income as an artist because you can make your work affordable. This is not so easy with oil painting. First, you need to get a decent photo of your painting because paintings don't tend to photograph that well. Plus, it's actually quite expensive and time-consuming to hire someone to do this. And you always get a colour shift from the actual painting to the photograph. Oil paintings are really just one-offs. They are best viewed in person, framed and on a wall at a bit of a distance. Very often you hear people say, Oh, the photo just didn't do the painting justice. And that's because it doesn't. Procreate art, on the other hand, looks great on screen, but very often it does not print so well. I have spent many hours fiddling with a digital painting, trying to get the print to look like it does on screen. Procreate also allows me to experiment far more with different genres that I just wouldn't do as an oil painting. I think the simplicity of turning them into commercial items is what encourages me to experiment with different styles. So for versatility, Procreate is the clear winner here. Number 4, skill. Yes, you need to be more skillful to handle oil paint than you do Procreate painting. I am not saying there is no skill involved in Procreate, as there is. When I first started using a software, I would get very frustrated with it not doing what I wanted. But it really is like any medium. You just have to learn how to use it. In my opinion, the main skill required is understanding painting theory. Once you understand this, mastering the software is not as hard as mastering the technique of oil painting. Losing control of your oil painting is a very frequent complaint you hear from artists. But I think there is also an expectation placed on Procreate because it is so accessible that any kind of painting on it is easy and takes very little time and effort, and I think that is unfair. Sometimes when people watch my Procreate videos for the first time, they are disappointed at how inaccessible the artwork appears to be. I don't really have this issue with my oil painting tutorials because people arrive at the easel knowing that the process is hard. For the ease of use, I would say Procreate is the winner here. So which did you folks decide you preferred? The oil painting or the Procreate painting? Unsurprisingly, it was unanimously the oil painting. I can't help but wonder if the prestige of this medium helped sway our views. It is very difficult to be unaffected by the dominance of oil painting in art history. In my opinion, it is a little like comparing apples with oranges. I enjoy Procreate and oil painting and think both should be respected, but for different reasons. Next week, I will show you how I painted this one in oils. I hope you've enjoyed today's video and found it useful. Please like and subscribe if you can, and check out my website sarahhallidayart.com, where you will find examples of my work and also details of online classes that I run. Thank you for watching and see you for the next one.